Okay, let's go. I think I'm hungry, so let's go. Hello, everybody. We will going to talk about Sylius and web performance. So, let me introduce herself, Hélèna. She is project directress and Sylius partner management at Synolia. She is also non, ça fait bizarre. She is also e-commerce and UX addict.
And do you hear me? Yeah. And here is Olivier. He's a solution architect at Synolia. He's responsible of Sylius from the technical part. He's, as you might know, one of the early adopter of the solution. And since a few months, he joined the Sylius core team. Just so you know, Synolia is in between a system integrator and a web agency. One of our mission is to assist company in the digitalization and free them of technical constraints. So at Synolia, we're doing e-commerce, CRM, and data projects. And as you might know, also we're the Sylius leading partner in France. And we've got also an agency in Canada and in Chile. So the topic today is web performance. And what's web performance? It's the speed in which web pages are downloaded and displayed on the user's browser. We're talking here about technical performance from the user's point of view and not the marketing and commercial one. So you're in the right track. It's a tech track. And it's about the quality of the experience we deliver to user. And so that's a really important part of UX. And because if a website is too slow, it will simply be abandoned by visitors. And why shall we measure web performance? So one of the first points, it's important because web perf is the best way to check the health of a website. And it helps to identify the improvements. It helps to measure the impact of optimizations that are carried out, and it also helps to monitor the possible degradations that are made through developments. The low speed of a website is the first thing a user sees when they arrive on the site, and because of the fact that the first impressions often influences the rest of the user's journey, delivering better UX by increasing the user satisfaction or bringing the user back is really important. And when it comes to e-commerce, a user that is satisfied with the shopping journey is more likely to add something to his cart and to place an order, so it has a positive impact on sales and sales revenue. And finally, what is also important when it comes to measuring web performance is the ecological point of view, because an efficient website means less data passing around the web and therefore less energy consumption. So now, how do we measure web performance? You don't have to be web performance expert to understand the quality of an experience the website is delivering. And for that, the Web Vital initiative by Google aims to simplify the measuring tasks by delivering the metrics that matters the most. Each of the core Web Vitals represented here represents a distinct facet of the user experience and focuses on three aspects: the loading, the interactivity, and the visual stability. So you have here the LCP, which measures the loading performance, the FID, that measures interactivity, and the CLS, which concerns the visual stability. While these metrics are critical when it comes to understanding and delivering a great user experience, there are other metrics. And we find the FCP, that is the time from when the pages start loading to when any part of the page's content is rendered on the screen. You also have the INP, which is a responsiveness metric that measures how quickly the page's response to user experience, to user interaction, sorry. And the last one is the TTFB, that measures the time between the request for our resources and when the first byte of a response begins to arrive. The TTFB is expressed in milliseconds, and it concerns the time a server takes to respond. It is taken into account by Google and other search engines, so it is an important part for the quality of the UX, and it assesses the speed on which content will be available. You probably understood that it is not one of the most important indicators. By the way, it really counts for SEO and UX.
So, what affects processing time? Here's an example of TTFB based on Sylius e-commerce website on the basic server. As you can see, as soon as we reach more than 100 users, the server is overloaded by 100% and the page generation explodes. The basic answer is to add more server. Okay, let's do that. Extra server can see, with the extra server, you can see when you are few users, the pages are really fast. But we haven't solved our problem because the server handles more requests per second, but they are always being overloaded. This is not the best idea, and therefore it costs more for the infrastructure. So, how we can reduce this processing time? To find out how to improve the TTFB of pages, let's take a quick look to how the web requests work. At the first time, the web browser calls the web server, which asks backend server to process the request. The backend server itself uses other resources, such as database or external services. With an application performance management, APM, we can detect slow requests, so we can improve it. As for example, cache query data and serve it. As you know, Doctrine is a default ORM for Sylius, so you can simply add cache for the result. For example, for 5 minutes, it's easy to write, but it's a pain to add the cache on each request on your website, and it's very time-consuming. The next level is, as the Sylius is based on Symfony, you can use its caching system. The big advantage of this system is that you can cache at several levels. You can cache a call of the external service, for example, ERP or what you want, or the entire response of the controller. The advantage is its drawback, because as you have to do it on each service or each controller. It's very easy to write. You just need test if it's in cache. If not, make the request, save it, and render the response. So, could you put the cache on the front of the server? The last level is to put the cache upstream the web server. This is what we call HTTP reverse proxy. In this talk, we are focusing on the Varnish, but there are other reverse proxy solutions. Not in this talk, another day, probably. So, what is the benefit of Varnish? The first one is a very quick response, near 13 milliseconds or less, it depends. The most of the requests are handled by Varnish, so there are less load to your backend server to generate pages. And it's also important if you are in SaaS context, for example, Amazon Web Service, Google Platform, Google Cloud Platform, when you paid for resource usage, so it's a good advantage. It's also, if you are peak of your traffic, is it painless, for example, when you are commercial offer or DDoS attack. Now another one, who's called Grace Mode. Varnish returns the page to cache, while the new version is generated by the backend server. So it's the seamless for the user. Okay, benefit, but also constraints. There are 4 constraints for me. The first one is you need to learn VCL with the programmatic language for Varnish. The second one is Varnish does not support SSL on free version. The next one is you can't, or it's not simple to measure the performance with Varnish and benchmark results. And like all other cache system, you need to manage flushing and invalidate the cache.
And now you may ask, what about cookies? So Olivier needs to have a drink.
Okay. Varnish bypass the cache when the request contain cookie, so the first response and the simple response is to remove it. We just need to remove all the cookies except PHP session ID, and for other cookie, we recommend you to make in the separate request. You can see later. Let's see how to do this in practice on Sylius. The simple way, you can see. Varnish's cache key is URL based by default, so this is already compatible with multi-language support on Sylius. Let's look how we can apply it to such page like homepage, product pages, content pages, sitemap, and many more. The first approach is to add a Symfony event subscriber, who is called as the end of kernel request, as the end. So I make very big hint. And we can also define which routes can be cached. The body of the subscriber is quite simple. The first idea is to get the routes and get cookies. If we have cookies or if the route is not in the cache list, we just need to answer with no cache first for all the pages. Also, you can set the pages as public and add cache. In this example, I put 30 seconds, because it's a simple way to not have to clean the cache. Lazy. Okay, so let's take an example on the home page of Sylius. As you can see, all user I log as Jenkins. So my name is not Jenkins, I'm Oliver. So, and the problem is all users share the same card. So a unique card is shared by all users on the website. This is not what you want. As the cache is based on the URL pages, the cache contains the information of the first person who takes the request, who makes the request, of course. So, to solve this issue, Varnish introduced head side included. So to enable it, you need to enable it, first one on Symfony configuration, second one on Varnish configuration, and then you just need to replace render by render ESI on the cards template tree. The problem with ESI is that Varnish waits for all the ESI response before returning the page to the client. Our TTFB is therefore not optimal. If we look at the product page listing or product detail page, if we want to manage promotion and price differently depending of our user group, for example, if we want VIP customer as an additional discount or something like that, you also have the same problem because all user has the same discount. To solve that, Varnish add a user context hash. This hash can be passed by Symfony to the reader with vary HTTP header, for example, and we need to add the group to our Varnish hash. As you can see, we can share a group between Varnish and with anonymous and authenticated user, but another group for VIP user, for example, and other group for partner A and partner B if we have promotion different for partner. Okay. I can do a few tips for you. As I have already said, Varnish wait all ERC response before handle page. This is therefore better to cache a page without price, for example, and then add the price according to the user needs using Ajax request. Another tips is be careful with plugin because some plugin can add unwanted cookies and so it bypass the cache system. I fallen on that a few months ago. If you want to disable cache for a test, you can add a cookie in your web developer toolbar on Chrome, on Firefox, as you want. And last but not the least, I recommend you to warm up your cache. So just after make a new version in production, browse all page in your sitemap and just warm up all the page. Congratulations! All the pages are fast. As you can see, the server load is still increasing slightly, of course, because some pages are not cached, such as checkout or my icon section on Sylius. So you probably need a good server, but this is easy with Sylius.
So this is it. We wanted just to sum up all the key facts. You must remind that for having a high performance website means that a successful user experience. That a successful user experience means satisfied, returning users and has a positive impact on sales. There are many tools existing to help you measure web performance, such as PageSpeed, GTmetrix, Blackfire, New Relics, and others. There's Score, which is a web performance tracking barometer developed by Synolia. You just have to choose the right tool for your project need. Tools also makes it possible to track the progress, as we said earlier, and measure the impact of optimization made to protect you against regressions. You also have to know that web performance can be optimized by using caches, as we said, but there's also other solutions such as the CDNs. And finally, one of the main advice we can address is that you have to start with improvements that have strong impacts and are quick to implement before going on minor optimization that can be more time consuming and costly. So this is it. I think we managed to get back on the time track. And thank you for listening. And we're here if you have any questions. Any questions? I don't have any gift as Ivo. Sorry.
We just want to eat. Yeah.
I don't know if the mic will be better.
Thank you. So the question is, let's say that we have all these tools to improve the performance of our page, but bottom line is that regardless of how many tools we have to improve the performance, if we have poorly configured server, for example, so let's pick any configuration like a bad configuration server. So regardless of how many tools we have to improve that performance might be much worse versus using the server that is much better configured. For example, I don't know, have a better CPU, have more RAM, without using these tools. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think Varnish does not replace a good server, but Varnish is less CPU and memory consuming than web server who make requests in Sylius and Symfony.
Okay, so the question is, at which point we should consider, instead of using the tools to improve our performance, actually upgrading our hardware?
All the time. Tomorrow and today.
Regardless of
yeah.
how well your website works, you should always find better hardware to set your shops on, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, very cheap.
Does anyone has another question?
I want to elaborate a bit on a conversation that kind of started last night, but the context is like this. You have a product listing where you have a bunch of products and a bunch of attributes from those products acting as product filters. You have, let's say, 1,000 products with one particular attribute and various product attribute values, and you change the name of the attribute. How do you make sure that all the pages where that old version of the attribute name get updated? And how do you make sure that the caching is not generated synchronously whenever you have a cache stampede, like hundreds of users accessing that request? Do you have any experience that you want to share with us on this end?
For product listing, I don't use the basic Sylius tools. I often use external services like Algolia, Attract, or what you want, who make facet and research and what you want. So I don't really know how we can do that with Sylius. For me, if you use a little time to cache, for example, 20 seconds or something like that, when you change a data of your product, in next seconds it will be fresh. So in short, a short video. Yeah.
Is it possible in Varnish to build or warm up the cache without invalidating the currently existing cache, so that you can that no users hit cold cache? That is clear, I hope. Thank you.
Yeah, you can flush the cache with request, HTTP request, and you can use URL or tags for that.
This is it? You're hungry?
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks.